All right, welcome in. Mount Polumbus Speaks here. It's Friday night. I'm a loser, as I am every Friday night, and I'm hanging out with you losers as well who've got nothing else going on your Friday nights. So, let's have a little bit of fun. Let's talk some sports, and let's see what's going on out there in the world of the Broncos and the NFL. Here's what we got going on tonight. Be another quick hitter for you. The first major domino in terms of quarterbacks has fallen. There was a surprise trade today. The Seattle Seahawks traded Geno Smith to the Las Vegas Raiders. What does that mean specifically for Shedeur Sanders? And what does that mean for the overall quarterback situation going on in the NFL in the offseason? We will break that down for you. Broncos have got three really high-priced, very valuable members of their team that all need a contract extension like now. This offseason, Courtland Sutton, Nik Bonitto, Zach Allen all want a contract extension. They're all eligible for a contract extension. They all deserve a contract extension. Can the Broncos actually extend all three of them? And if they cannot, who would you choose? I know who I would choose. I'll tell you about that. And then the last quick hitter, I just want to dive in with you guys tonight before I let you guys enjoy the rest of your Friday night, pop in a movie, do whatever you're going to do. What's going on with wide receivers right now? You know, there's been a trend of making wide receivers the highest paid non-quarterbacks on any given football team across the league. And those price tags have gotten as high as $35 million per year. Well, all of a sudden you've got Deebo Samuel, who just got traded to the Commanders. You've got DK Metcalf, who's going to be on the move from the Seattle Seahawks. You've got Javonte Adams, who's a free agent. You've got Garrett Wilson, who's potentially on the move from the New York Jets. And you've got Brandon Ayuk, who is now, according to reports, available for a trade from the 49ers. Why are there 5 of the top 10 wide receivers all available right now? I've got a theory. We'll dive into all that. But before we get rolling tonight, as always, I need to take a quick second here to thank my sponsors. My title sponsor is Safeway. Safeway is a different kind of grocery store. And if you value fresh foods and local flavors, you need to go shop at your local Safeway. They cut their fruit fresh in store every single day, and they've got an incredible app that if you don't have on your phone, you need to download it today. Skip the delivery service apps, go directly to the Safeway app. What I do is they save my order, and then I just add on 3 or 4 different pieces any given week of what I might need, and I've got my entire order done. I've hit send within 4 to 5 minutes, and it's sitting on my doorstep probably an hour or 2 later. You're going to save a boatload of money. You're going to redeem points that you can use for discounts down the road, and you'll save money directly right then and there as well. So skip the delivery service apps, order directly on the Safeway app. They'll handle the rest for you. They'll deliver it directly to your door. You will not regret downloading the Safeway app. I've heard from so many people that have saved a boatload of money by working with Safeway. Also want to take a quick second here to shout out Ascend Barbershop in the Parker area. If you're looking for a luxury barber experience, I've been going over to Ascend now for quite some time. Alfred Castro has been my personal barber for 5 or 6 years now. If I can't get in with Alfred, I work with Anthony. They're both absolutely fantastic, but they also take walk-ins. They've got 4 or 5 other barbers that are on shop, and they all do a fantastic job. So if you've not experienced a luxury barbershop, I'm telling you, you're missing out. Once you get cut from Ascend Barbershop, you will never go back. They're the only ones I trust to groom my beard, do my hair, and I'll never go anywhere else. So check out Ascend Barbershop if you are in the Parker area. All right. Now that we got that knocked out of the way, appreciate you guys that watch Mount Polumbus Speaks. I could not have sponsors if it were not for you. One last quick shameless plug for myself. If you've not subscribed to Mount Polumbus Speaks over on YouTube, please hit that link in my bio on Twitter. Go on over to YouTube, hit subscribe, like and comment on this video if you want to help support my channel. And make sure you don't miss out on any of my content that all lives on the YouTube platform. And there is content that lives uniquely over there. If you usually watch my content on Twitter, you will not catch it all. So make sure you go subscribe to my YouTube channel. You'd be doing me a huge solid if you could like and comment on this video as well. All right, let's dive in. The first domino of the quarterback market happened today, and it really kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. I mean, hindsight 2020, nobody should really be surprised by this. But Geno Smith was traded to the Las Vegas Raiders today. It is a move that in hindsight, you're like, okay, Pete Carroll, they don't have a quarterback out there in Las Vegas. They just let Gardner Minshew go. And obviously Pete likes himself some Geno Smith. He brought Geno from New York out to Seattle. I don't know, gosh, that must have been 4 or 5 years ago now, maybe even more than that. And they had a lot of success with him. Now, what does this mean for the NFL? First off, Geno was traded for a 2025 third-round pick. It's the 96th overall pick. And I would imagine that Geno's about to get himself a brand new deal out there in Las Vegas as well. Why is this relevant? Well, I think it's relevant mainly if you're a Colorado Buffaloes fan, because one of the main landing spots for Shedeur Sanders has always felt like it's going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. The current trends in the NFL, if you want to follow the mock drafts, the majority, almost all actually, not just the majority, almost every single mock draft I've looked at within the last 2 months has got Cam Ward being the first quarterback off the board. And then there's a huge, and I mean a huge discrepancy of opinion of where Shedeur Sanders is going to get drafted. I've seen Shedeur go number 2 overall to the Cleveland Browns. We had Adam Schefter on our show, PhD, Polumbus, Hastings, and DMAC over on Altitude 92.5. Make sure you check us out, 12 to 3, Monday through Friday. We had Adam Schefter on the show this week, and I had heard Adam had a comment that I asked him about, in which he said one of the things that he is most confident about in this year's draft is that the Cleveland Browns are going to select a quarterback. So could we see a world in which Cam Ward goes number 1, Shedeur Sanders goes number 2 to Cleveland Browns? Sure, of course we could. I've also seen mock drafts of late. If you missed it, check out my previous content I put out last week that had Shedeur Sanders not getting drafted in the first round at all. That's insane. Shedeur Sanders absolutely will go in the first round. I promise you that. There's no chance he's going outside of the first round. But where does he land? It's crazy, man. I mean, let's talk this through. Okay, so let's say the Tennessee Titans talk themselves out of a quarterback, which feels crazy because certainly they're not happy with Will Levis, but maybe they just feel like Abdul Carter is just a can't-miss generational prospect, and they decide they're going to go ahead and take Abdul Carter. Maybe it's Travis Hunter. Maybe it's Travis Hunter is their can't-miss generational prospect. They take one of those two guys. All right, Cam Ward goes number 2 overall to the Cleveland Browns. And then, man, it gets fascinating after that. What's up, Deion Barber? Appreciate you watching. Anybody that wants to be a part of the show, feel free to send in your texts, your tweets, and it will pop up directly on my stream. It really gets fascinating because the New York Giants clearly need a quarterback as well, but there's no guarantee that they're going to take one. It has felt like for a long time, and if you listen to all the rumors, all the reports coming out of the combine, Shedeur Sanders was getting hated on left and right. You had reporters that were announcing that there were 2 teams within the top 10 that felt like Shedeur Sanders came across as arrogant and brash, that he didn't care much about their opinion of him. There was another team inside the top 7, allegedly, that said they didn't have Shedeur Sanders on their board. And I call a bunch of BS to all that. I've already dove into all those reasons, so I won't rehash it on tonight's episode. But there is a very realistic world in which you could see Shedeur Sanders going to number 6. And here's been my hot take on Shedeur the entire time. I think he knows damn well that there's at least a team or 2 that's going to take him. And he doesn't really care all that much being the first quarterback off the board. Maybe he doesn't want to go to the Cleveland Browns. Maybe it's Tennessee Titans. I don't know. But the team that has made just so much logical sense from day one has been the Las Vegas Raiders. He's got connections there. Tom Brady is his personal mentor. Chip Kelly is now the offensive coordinator for the Raiders. If you guys didn't know that, Chip Kelly came from Ohio State. He's now the offensive coordinator for the Raiders. They made him the highest paid offensive coordinator in the NFL. Yeah, Mike, I think both the Raiders and Saints are very likely destinations for Shedeur. I agree with you. Chip Kelly would be a fantastic fit for Shedeur Sanders. I do think fit matters a lot for Shedeur. He lands with the wrong team, and it could be struggle bus city. He lands with the right team, and he could be rookie of the year type of candidate. I do think that Shedeur Sanders with the Raiders would be a phenomenal fit. So the question is, now that Geno Smith is the starting quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders, will they still select Shedeur Sanders if he's on the board? And I say hell yes. Hell yes, they should select him. Why would that change anything? What year is Geno Smith in? Let's look it up. Geno Smith. Why is my computer not working? I don't know. I can't get my internet to work for some reason. Whatever. Geno Smith has got to be okay. He's 34 years old. He came into the league in 2013. Damn. Geno's been around the block for a hot minute now. You think he's the long-term plan out there in Las Vegas? Hell no, he's not the long-term plan. One thing you know about Pete Carroll, his entire building is built around competition. What happened when they drafted Russell Wilson in the third round? They went out and they signed Matt Flynn in free agency. They gave Matt Flynn at the time what was a very respectable deal. Russell Wilson was a third, maybe fourth rounder. I can't remember. Russ ends up beating him out. Pete Carroll is one of the very few coaches in the NFL that would actually have a true, authentic quarterback competition. Most of the times it's manufactured. You're just buying time for the young guy to win the job. That's not the way that Pete Carroll works. I really do think that the Las Vegas Raiders are still going to be the most likely destination for Shedeur Sanders. He'll probably fight it out. He'll probably lose to Geno Smith in year one, and then he gets to sit there and learn for a year. What's wrong with that? That's actually the current mold that the NFL is kind of going for. We've seen guys like Jordan Love have a lot of success sitting on the bench. Guys like Michael Penix, who sat for the majority of the year last year and looks like he's going to have a lot of success. J.J. McCarthy, who's hurt. The plan was for him to sit behind Sam Darnold, learn, have some success down the road. The NFL is no longer trying to press these rookie quarterbacks on the field at the same rate that they once were. And if he doesn't go to the Raiders at 6, well, the Jets still need a quarterback at number 7. The Saints still need a quarterback at number 9. And then you get to 14. You're like, whoa, what would the Indianapolis Colts do? Colts might take a quarterback at number 14, although I think it's probably unlikely. And then kind of the last spot for Shedeur Sanders to land in the first round, in all likelihood, is going to be at number 21 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. If he slips past number 21, which I just can't figure out how it's possible, I do think a team will trade up to number 28, 29, get back into the first round, use that fifth-year option, and select a QB. There's a lot of talk about Jackson Dart out there. Jackson Dart's not jumping Shedeur. Don't listen to the noise. It's just not happening. So Geno Smith is now the first domino to fall. There's a lot of reports out there that Sam Darnold is now going to go out to the Seattle Seahawks. He's going to replace Geno Smith. Keep in mind that legal tampering opens up Monday morning, and you can't technically sign the guys until Wednesday, although everybody agrees to terms Monday morning, and NFL free agency is freaking wild. So we will see what happens here in the next 72 hours. Dom says, I thought this move means the Raiders are for sure taking Genti. It could. Hey, man, I might be wrong, but I think it would be a mistake if they had an opportunity to select Shedeur Sanders, let him sit for a year behind Geno Smith. You know he's not the long-term plan. I'm not telling you I've got any insider knowledge. I'm just connecting dots and telling you what I think makes sense. All right. What's going on in the NFL right now with wide receivers? I'm going to pull up wide receiver salaries right now because the wide receiver salaries are absolutely insane. They've gotten to the point where guys are making $30, $35 million per year. Jamar Chase is about to get a new deal. Jamar Chase is about to become the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL, and that's after Max Crosby just became the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. These wide receiver contracts have gotten so asinine that you've now got 6 dudes all making over $30 million. If you want to take it down to $25 million or more, you've got 11 dudes in the NFL making $25 million or more. And if you listen to my show at all, you know that I've kind of been ranting and raving about the wide receiver situation in the NFL for a while now. My personal opinion is that the NFL is going to hit a bubble. Just like it happened with safeties a few years back, just like it happened with running backs before that, the NFL is going to realize, hey, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense to pay $35 million, 36, 37. Jamar Chase is probably going to get $37 million per year, somewhere in that ballpark. We're paying the most dependent position in the NFL $35, $37 million per year. It just doesn't make sense to me. It used to always be left tackles were the second highest paid players on a team. Edge rushers were number 3. Corners were 4. Wide receivers were the 5th highest paid players in the NFL. So I've been ranting and raving about the NFL is going to hit a bubble here. It's like the housing market, man. You start overpaying, and eventually teams are going to start regretting it. And I do wonder, have we already hit that bubble? Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. We won't really know for another 2 or 3 years. But I do find it fascinating that Deebo Samuel just got traded. He got traded. If you missed it, you're living in a cave. Deebo Samuel got traded from the Washington Commanders, from the San Francisco 49ers to the Washington Commanders for a 5th-round pick. That's it, a 5th-round pick. What else is going on in the NFL right now? DK Metcalf, who is like 26 years old, is going to be on the move from the Seattle Seahawks. The going rate for DK Metcalf, according to some reports, is that the Seahawks want a 1st and a 3rd. They're not going to get a 1st and a 3rd. My prediction, DK goes for a high 2nd to a low 3rd, somewhere in that ballpark. DK Metcalf is on the move. Davante Adams is now a free agent. The New York Jets could not find a trade partner for Davante Adams, so they just outright cut the dude. Davante Adams, if you were to poll the players in the NFL, to this day, players would probably still tell you that Davante Adams is wide receiver number 1 in the NFL. The stats are still damn good. They're not what they once were, but he's still averaging over 1,000 yards per season, and he's got that type of respect from his peers. So according to the peers in the NFL, wide receiver number 1 is on the streets right now looking for a job. Garrett Wilson from the New York Jets is allegedly available for a trade. Brandon Ayuk, who just got that brand new contract last year. Brandon Ayuk, who is now making $30 million per year, is allegedly available for a trade. The 49ers have said that everybody on their team is available right now, and that includes Brandon Ayuk. They're in cap hell, and I think a lot of that has to do with giving Brandon Ayuk $30 million per year. So you've got DK Metcalf, you've got Deebo Samuel, you've got Davante Adams, you've got Garrett Wilson, you got Brandon Ayuk. 5 of the legit top 10 wide receivers in the NFL are all available or were just available. What's going on? What's going on in the NFL? My theory, the bubble is starting to hit. My theory, teams are starting to regret paying these wide receivers $35 million per year when they realize it is the most dependent position on a football field. If the offensive line doesn't get their job done, the quarterback can't throw the ball. If the quarterback doesn't see the right wide receiver, he doesn't throw it to the right guy. If the quarterback doesn't deliver a perfect pass, the wide receiver can't catch the football. I don't know in what world it makes sense for wide receivers to be making $35 million per year, but hell, I'm not running NFL teams right now. I just happen to wonder what's going on. How does this relate to the Denver Broncos? Well, I do think the Denver Broncos are going to bring back Courtland Sutton. When I say bring him back, I mean they're going to extend him. I do think that the Denver Broncos will go ahead and extend Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton is currently making $13.75 million per year. Pretty healthy contract, but when you actually look at where that puts him in the wide receiver marketplace, he's at like number 27 or number 28. It's something crazy low for him. Is Sutton a number 1 on every team? No, but he damn sure isn't the 28th best quarterback wide receiver in the NFL. And Courtland's going to want to, he's going to want a new contract. He's going into the final year of his contract. He wanted a new deal last year. They didn't give it to him. They gave him some escalators to keep him happy last year. But they did not give him the long-term deal. I think the Broncos will go ahead and get Courtland Sutton locked up. I don't think it's going to be a break-the-bank type of contract. It's not going to be $30 million per year. It might be somewhere in that $20 to $22 million range. That would make him still like the 15th highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. And quite frankly, it would still be a budget deal in comparison to what other teams are paying. So you lock up Courtland Sutton at $20 to $22 million per year. And then I do think the Broncos need to go get a number one wide receiver. And with 5 of the top 10 wide receivers all available right now, I'll just say, yep, I will be disappointed if we don't hear news that the Denver Broncos are in on a very serious conversation with either DK Metcalf, with Javonte Adams, who's a flat-out free agent, with Garrett Wilson, who may or may not be available for the New York Jets, or with Brandon Ayuk, who is available from the San Francisco 49ers. Look, that's 4 dudes right there that would immediately be the number one on our football team. That's 4 dudes right there that all have got ability to play Joker type of roles, maybe not the typical Joker role, but they're versatile football players that you can put in different positions. And I would be disappointed if the Broncos were not heavily involved. And yet I'm going to say I won't be overly disappointed if they don't get a deal done, as long as they were in the hunt, as long as they were in the conversation, because I do think it's foolish to have to pass out $35 million per year. And maybe that's just what you got to do. You go and you get one of these guys, maybe that's what you got to do. Davante Adams is probably going to be significantly cheaper than the other guys simply because he's going to be 33 years old next season. But Davante's probably going to go ring shopping. He's probably going to land with the Chiefs, the Bills, someone like that, because he's at that point of his career. Wes says, should the Broncos give up a number 1 draft pick for DK, though still recovering draft picks from the Russ trade? So would I give up the number 20 for DK Metcalf? Oh, when you put it like that, it's like, maybe. Maybe. I actually think that's on the high end of what DK's actual trade value is going to be. But if you're sitting there at number 20, say the Broncos were going to select a wide receiver at number 20. What are the odds of them getting a player like DK Metcalf? 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10. Maybe you want to be insanely generous. 4 out of 10. Those are the odds of landing a player like DK Metcalf. So when you think of it that way, giving up the number 20 doesn't feel like that big of a deal. But I do think this team needs to stay true to where they're at right now. They're a young, rebuilding team. They do need to value their draft picks. And you probably won't land a DK Metcalf, but what you could do is you could land a poor man's DK Metcalf. You could have him for the next 5 years at a very cheap price, especially when you look at what the current market value is for wide receivers. So although I could justify a 20, I probably would not do it. Second round and less, now I'm in the conversation for a DK Metcalf. First rounders, we got to be talking about cost-controlled football players because that's what we want. We've got a cost-controlled quarterback. We might as well cost-control our whole football team as long as we possibly can here. That being said, I do hope the Broncos are in the hunt for one of these guys. I hope they're aggressive enough that we at least hear reports Broncos are interested in DK Metcalf. Broncos are interested in Davante Adams, Garrett Wilson, Brandon Ayuk. I don't care. I don't even care which one of those dudes. I mean, if I could hand pick one, DK Metcalf is by far the best of the available wide receivers right now. When you take into consideration age and everything else, he's wide receiver number 1 that's on the market. So I'd take me some DK, but I'm not going to be overly bummed out if they just simply get priced out based off the contracts. All right, I did want to talk about the Broncos players right now. They've got 3 players that all need contract extensions. They're all going to be very expensive. Their names are Zach Allen, Nik Bonitto, and Courtland Sutton. Can the Broncos actually extend all 3 of these guys in the same offseason? And if not, who would you choose? I know who I would choose, but you know what? We've already been on this thing for 24, 25 minutes tonight. It's Friday night, so I'm going to save that topic for the next Mount Polumbus Speaks. I'll be back with you guys in a couple days. Again, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube, you're watching on Twitter right now, hit the link in my bio, head on over to my YouTube, hit subscribe. It'll take you 32 seconds, and you'll make sure you don't miss out on any of my content that lives exclusively to YouTube. And if you just like me, if you think Mount Polumbus Speaks is a cool deal, just know that I'd be very grateful if you'd help me grow my channel over there. You really want to do me a solid, hit like on this video on YouTube, make a comment, and that does wonders for the algorithm. Okay, thank you to Safeway, my title sponsor. I could not do this podcast without them. Quick reminder, if you have not downloaded the Safeway app, make sure you do it today. Download the app, order your food. Safeway will handle the rest, get it delivered directly to your door. All right, be back with you guys in a couple days. Mount Polumbus Speaks.